Why aren't you vegan yet?
Because I eat meat. I wasn't set up to be vegan. Why isn't every omnivore vegan?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking everyone. Why aren't you vegan?
No, I'm asking why every omnivore isn't vegan.
Like all animals, or?
Yeah.
Oh,
Why
well,
don't you
for
preach to
humans,
them?
it's because for humans we have used animals to survive harsh environments, but we don't need to now. We have science that shows that we can thrive off of using plants and fungi and seaweed. I don't know where you went. You left alive. Okay, you're back.
I'm back.
So we have all the alternatives that we could need. We don't need to use animals. They're sentient beings that feel pain and suffering and joy. And if there's no need to use them, why are we enslaving them?
So bears don't need to eat meat either. They could just choose to start eating plants the rest of their lives. But they don't.
You understand what morals are. You know how to weigh out what's right and wrong. A bear doesn't have the time or the space to do that. They're just trying to survive a harsh environment.
And we have the time and space to just start eating plants.
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so you start reconstructing the entire human life form so we can just start eating plants.
People have been eating as a vegan for thousands of years, in fact. Pythagoras, for example, was against using animals. So we have the patterns down. We know how to do it. It's a matter of just doing it. You know, if you know that animals are sentient, that they want to live and that they don't deserve to be enslaved, then you should live vegan.
And they didn't want to be born in the first place.
We're forcing them into existence and then just using them.
They didn't want to be born in the first place.
Yeah, we're impregnating cows forcibly.
So
that's
when I kick
bringing
my cows out to pasture and there's a bull there, that bull's that cow every time it gets pregnant?
See, you're specifically picking a type of bull to go in there and mate with all of your female cows. So you are, in essence, kind of setting up an SA event. Yes.
Yeah.
You're putting a randy male in a pen with a bunch of females. If we had a human example of that, we would call it something with an R word.
Yeah, sure.
They only mate when they're in heat. They only mate when they're in heat. That's it.
You don't even know.
Same with women. They only mate when they want to.
I'm talking
correct?
about the animal world. When the females are in heat, that's when they mate.
It's a choice.
It doesn't matter. You shouldn't be making them mate anyway because we don't need to use them.
So I should just cut all my fences open and let them on the roads and...
No, you should care for them until they just die on their own. And then don't breed any more into existence and be done with it. Or send them to somebody that will care for them for the rest of their lives.
Sanctuary.
That sounds like retirement. That'd be really nice.
Yeah, I'm sure they would appreciate it.
To just let them die off.
Yeah, naturally, of course. Just like you, right? You want to be able to
die. We're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Just a matter of when.
That's all. We're just here saying that the animals want to live as long as they possibly can, and they don't want to have a knife across their throat. And since we don't need to use them, there's no reason to enslave them.
It's a very strange way to look at it, but I can...
Well, look at it this way. Would you want to be in their situation? Would you trade places with them right now?
Fuck yeah.
Hell no. Hell no, you would.
I just want to be clear, though. So you want your mother to be great so that you can be into existence.
No, I'm already here.
You want to be separated from her and fed an alternative food, not her breast milk, and to die at the hand of whoever is in control of the whole farm that you were born into. At their whim. They get to decide when you die, either immediately or maybe 2 years from now. Does that sound moral to you?
I feel like I have a different way of thinking.
Can you answer my question and then respond and whatever?
So morally, no. To a human, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, I
hope you can see that.
The difference, but I understand you have a question. Go for it.
Our frontal lobe is a little more progressed than cattle, cows, dogs, any animal.
If a human was born with a minimal frontal part of their brain, would you say it's okay to exploit them?
they tend to go into care somewhere.
Right. We care for them. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
As cattle are cared for. You guys have this strange outlook on
mentally
everything.
handicapped people, hang them upside down, slit their throats, and drain them of blood. We do not do that to them.
Or use a bolt gun on them.
Yeah, we don't do that to them. So you're misunderstanding my point. I'm saying, why don't we care for the animals the way that we care for mentally handicapped people?
Because you just separated them the same way everybody should. One is an animal, and one is a mentally handicapped person.
You're an animal technically too.
Okay, then call us all animals.
We're all animals.
So what is the moral difference that makes it okay to stab one but not the other?
That one of us has morals.
I just told you this mentally handicapped person doesn't have morals. What makes it okay to stab an animal but not the mentally handicapped person?
That person still had morals?
No,
has
they never had
morals.
them. Never had them.
And morally, it'd be wrong to stab that person.
Why?
Okay.
You can answer if you want, but I don't know if you want to keep going down this intelligence route because you keep mentioning some type of intelligence. And I keep pointing out this human doesn't have that intelligence, but we still don't exploit them. It's because they're sentient. It's because they're a subject having an experience of the world, right? They're experiencing things and they're making preferences, whether they enjoy the things that they're experiencing or they don't enjoy the things they're experiencing.
So we throw them into a mental health institution, and then we feed them every day.
Right, we're
and take care of them until they die. That's how a lot of cattle live too.
No, they're forcibly bred into existence, and then they're raised to a quarter of their lifespan and then wiped out. So we could just not breed them into existence, and then there's no questions about morals anymore, right? Because they're not existing. There's no suffering in non-existence. We can eat other things. We can use other things for fashion. We don't need to raise animals.
Yep.
Okay. I think you have the wrong outlook on how people.
Do you know what indoctrination is? Do you know what indoctrination is?
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, when you're indoctrinated, or whether it's into religion or whatever, we've been indoctrinated to thinking it's okay to exploit and use animals because they can't fight back and to eat them. It's just what people do generationally. And unfortunately, people don't do enough research. They knew back in the 1800s eating meat caused cancer. That long ago, they knew it caused cancer. But we continually not listen to science. We continually not listen to people who are plant-based. And, it's just the way it is. But, you've been indoctrinated like I was indoctrinated. I ate meat at a very young age. I didn't really like it. And I had too many pets. I even had a bull that was a pet. And he lived on into his late 20s, and he was just there on my grandparents' farm, and he was great. Never hurt me. Always would come up, acted just like a dog. I've raised the chicken. I'm 61. I raised the chicken from an egg when they could do that back in schools. I don't know if you knew that, but we were able to do that back in the 60s, 70s. And she was like my best friend. She knew how to do all kinds of tricks. She knew her name. She'd come when I call her. She'd sit on my lap and just purr. I mean, and I would never give up those experiences because that kind of led me away from realizing I didn't need to eat meat to survive. And they just, seared it into my brain, seeing how a bull acts with people when they're treated kindly, and how a chicken can be very smart too. It's just how we treat them. Yeah. But at this point, we're not treating them very well. You know,
Maybe a few select people aren't treating their animals very well, but
Have you seen Dominion?
what's that?
Dominion. It's a documentary on standard practices. So it's not the worst of the worst. It's literally the standard practices. Everything, most of the things in here are 100% legal.
yep.
You
But
see
you're just
some of
picking out the
it,
worst
but
parts of
most
everything.
of it is just standard
But
practice.
that's the way it is. We're not
Right.
talking about mom and pop farms. There's no such thing as that anymore.
It's like
We're talking
1%
about-
if that.
Yeah, you're talking about a scale that's 20 times larger. You know, this is a massive scale on killing animals. We kill more animals per year than there are people on this planet.
That ever existed, in fact.
Exactly. And that's pretty sad, you know, if you think about it.
92.2 billion.
Right.
Okay, so your argument shouldn't be, why aren't you vegan yet? It should be getting rid of these large industrial-sized farms that
I'm against all exploitation. So even on those mom and pop farms, they still take the life of those individuals when they don't need to. It's unnecessary.
Yeah.
Just like slavery. It's immoral to use someone without their consent, even if you bred them into existence.
Right.
So it's just on farms in general. You should still take
any
away, why
use
aren't you
of
vegan?
someone-
Because
any
we are
use-
omnivores.
Any use of someone who cannot consent to their treatment is immoral.
Okay, so this still isn't about being vegan. This is morals. And everybody has
What do
different
you think
morals.
veganism is?
You've worded it like you want everyone to become vegan.
So veganism is a principled stance against exploitation of animals or sentient beings.
It's not a diet.
It's about
And
all
there are
aspects of
things-
life.
Yeah,
Right.
there are, if you want to say plant-based, if that's easier on your brain, we'll say plant-based. Okay, and there are things out there that, like I've told other people, Beyond Beef is really great. Tastes just like beef. You wouldn't know the difference.
It's all about
It's all
seasonings.
plant. Yeah, it's all plant. And if we stopped on this industrial scale or just stopped at all, there wouldn't be starving people in the world.
Or at least we would have the potential to
There
not
wouldn't be?
starve people.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. We would reduce our land use by 75% and increase our ability to feed everybody on the planet. Right now, we're at 8 billion people. We raise 92.2 billion animals every year. And the countries that are starving are the ones focusing on growing grains for our animals in the West. Because that's where the money is. They're getting an income from that. But they're not growing their own vegetables, so they're having food insecurity.
Yep.
So switch everything
Vegan,
over to
everybody would be
crops.
fed. Go ahead, sorry.
So switch everything over to crops and that'll fix everything.
It won't fix
It'll
everything.
fix a lot.
It'll fix a lot, you know, and it's not going to happen overnight. Sadly, it's going to be a transition. So as people become vegan, demands for animal stuff will drop. And those that produce the animal things will reduce their supply. They won't breed as many animals into existence. And not that it's veganism's goal to slowly decrease, it's just being principally against exploitation. That is the result, though, as more people adopt those morals and accept that, well, they already have the morals, but if they, you know, finally start living in alignment with their own principles, we'll make that transition. We'll care about animals. We'll find solutions to these problems. As a Joe Schmo vegan, I don't have the answers to everything. I just know that exploiting someone, much like supporting slavery, is immoral. And if I can avoid it, I will.
All right.
I think most people would.
Alrighty. It was
Alright,
nice talking.
Okay, if I could just do one thing, I would push that you watch Dominion. You know,
Yeah,
whatever you
I'll
do,
give it a watch.
Yeah, and then if you want, I would love to talk to you afterwards. You can come up on my live or private message me. I would love to hear what you think after watching that. I'm always curious.
Sure thing. I will give that a watch and lull it over.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, definitely do that. And like I said, reach out to me. But I appreciate you coming up.